Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're going to be working on our Dodge Journey again today. I'm going to show you guys how I do an oil change. I'm going to start with showing you how to drive it up on some ramps. So first thing you need is a good set of ramps. You want your tires pointed nice and straight, have a good line of clear path in front of you. And we're going to just eye up and make sure that our ramps are straight with our vehicle. Once we know they're straight, we want to make sure that nobody's standing in this area. If something goes wrong, these ramps are going to shoot out, and you don't want anybody to get hurt. Alright? I'm going to start the car up, and when I go to drive up the ramps, you're going to use your gas and your brake at the same time, both feet. You don't want to shoot over, so you want to be very gentle on both pedals and make sure that you have a good feel for it. You'll see I also opened the window and leaned out the door just a little bit so I can watch myself up here. If you had a second person, you could have them guide you instead. The other technique that you might have noticed is once I got into the pocket there, I just gave the wheel a little wiggle to just kind of help seat it in there a little bit more. So now that we've got the car up on the ramps, I'm going to go get the drain pan and we're going to pull that plug and we're going to drain the oil on here. So I'm going to show you guys just what I got going on here so you can see where this drain plug is. So we popped the hood, we pulled our cap off, pulled our dipstick out, and now we're down here underneath the car where we can see our oil filter right here. And then this whole thing is our oil pan, and that right there is our drain plug. So what we're going to do is we're going to line up our drain pan with that plug. Now what's going to happen is there's going to be so much pressure in here, it's going to go woo, pretty far from where that is. And then as the pressure dies off, it's going to trickle down. So I usually put my pan the long way, kind of line up the back edge here with where that's going to drip at the end, and it usually lands pretty good. So I'm going to do that and see if I can have you guys watch. Alright, let's see here if we can do this without getting too oily. The other thing is you want to do this when your vehicle is warmed up. So this oil in here should be coming out pretty hot. And so that's another good reason why you don't want to get hit by it when it's coming out. Beautiful. Perfectly right in the middle of our pan. And we're just going to let that drain for about 5 minutes now or so. Alright, now this is mostly drained off here, I'm going to go ahead and pull this oil filter off. Now I've been doing my own oil changes, so I know I can get this one off by hand. But if you've had a mechanic do yours recently, it might be a little bit tight and you might need an oil wrench. Or sometimes just a rag will give you enough grip. That's why I like some of these Fram ones. They have this extra textured liner on it, making it a lot easier to undo it. Now, you are going to get your hand oily when you do it on this vehicle. The oil is going to come all over the filter. This drain pan has a nice little spot to let your filter hang out and drain out. So I'm going to leave that there and let that drain. I'm going to go get a rag to wipe my hand off. So we've got ourselves here a nice new Fram filter and some Pennzoil 10W30. It's nice to put a little bit of oil inside the filter first, and then just wipe a little bit on this rubber ring here with your finger. Just kind of take a little bit and we'll wipe it on there. Once we do that, I'll meet you back underneath the car and we'll show you what's going on there. Okay guys, we got our oil filter all filled up, lubed up. So we're going to clean all that off right there. All that ring at least, we want to get all that oil off that outer ring so we get a nice seal. So I've got a nice little rag here. And we're just going to make sure that's all nice and clean. Alright, that looks good. So, get you guys back down over here. Sorry, we had a little video glitch there, guys, but so as I was saying, when you go to screw this filter on, you don't need to reef it on there, just nice hand tight. And then we'll get our bolt on here. That was a 13mm socket. And so now we're kind of in the home stretch. We got our new filter on, our bolt back in. We gave everything a little bit of a wipe to make sure everything's all nice and clean down here. And we're gonna take a look at everything else while we're down here. One thing I did notice is we've got a bit of an exhaust leak, and so these bolts have totally rotted out. So look for a video coming up here on how to do some exhaust repair. But for now, we need to top this up. Okay guys, just to put the oil in here, I'm going to drive the car down. There's no oil in it, but just for a second like that, it's not a big deal to start it up. I'm just going to make sure all this stuff is all clear, so that the front bumper, when it comes down, doesn't take any of that out. And we're just going to back down nice and slow. And then now that we're on level ground, we can top this oil up. So I have my nice clean filter, or nice clean funnel here. And I know from experience with this vehicle, it's going to take the full 5 liters. When you go to pour an oil jug, you want to pour it sideways. Not by this handle, but sideways. If you hold your funnel up a little bit, it will flow a little bit easier than if you just let it sit there. So I like to hold the funnel with one hand and then pour the oil with the other. Keep an ear out for leaking oil in case you forgot to tighten something down on the bottom end. And then as you get near the end, now you can start to pour it by this handle. And then, so you don't spill anything from your funnel, keep your jug close by. Bam, right into there. Put the cap back on. Don't forget about this cap. Put this upside down so it doesn't leak out. And we're going to get rid of our garbage oil right back into this jug that the new oil came out of. As you're pouring the oil, keep an eye out for any metal flakes or specks. You see any kind of, silvery, shiny dust. Those aren't good signs. But everything here, very clear, no signs of water. Everything looks very good. And then the final thing I like to check after I've done all that is how much oil came back out. How much oil did the motor consume since we did our last change? And always have some rags handy when you're doing oil changes. It's going to be messy. Alright, so we're going to double check this oil level now, and then we're going to check the mileage and record our mileage so we can keep track of our oil change intervals. I'm going to give it one more check. Beautiful. So I don't know if you guys in the camera will be able to see that, but there's a safe zone marked on here. And so you want to be in the middle of it or towards the top. And so you can see we're right at the very top here. So that's perfect. So we're going to record 174,000 kilometers on July 13th, and we'll know when we need to do our next oil change based off of that. Thanks for joining us, guys.